What does this Mormon bishop know about keeping your kids out of money trouble? Plenty. Wake up to what's happening tomorrow morning on The Early Show with Brian Gumbel and Jane Clayson.
In his ongoing journey to prove that everybody has a story, our Steve Hartman has traveled to various spots around the country. But oddly enough, the random toss of that dart that's used to find his subjects had never landed near the West Coast until now.
First thing you notice about Visalia, California is the quiet, which after meeting this family, Gubler, I can only attribute to good insulation.
Mom! It's 7:22.
Can you get me one more plate?
Warren Gubler, the subject of this story, that was him, and his wife Elisa, that was her, have 5 children, ages 14 down to 4.
Put your shirt on, put your shirt on.
The kids can be real nerve testers. And yet this Mormon bishop begins his day without a drop of caffeine.
Learn lots.
He does not smoke, drink, or swear. What's the worst word you've ever heard him use?
Probably rear end.
I'm just an overgrown Boy Scout.
Yeah, he usually comes home whistling. I mean, just like Lord Cleaver or whatever kind of guy.
If we can do a prayer, then we'll go have milk and cookies.
And yet beneath those boyish dimples lies an alter ego. Why don't you tell people what it is you do for a living?
Well, I'm an attorney. Good morning, Your Honor. Warren Gubler for the judgment creditor, and the focus of my practice in recent years has been debt collection. Do you have any kind of proposal on how you'd like to satisfy this debt? Do you have an attorney? Where are your bank accounts at? What did you drive?
You would go take that guy's car.
I would. I'm an advocate. Hey, Monica, good morning.
And a busy one at that.
When the economy goes south, what can I do to help you? My business picks up.
Fact is, bankruptcies are at an all-time high in America. And Warren, who incidentally lectures on how to stay out of debt, says the most important thing you can tell a person to make them financially responsible is something along the lines of work hard, save your money, or it'll be no dessert for you. Something like that.
Part of the deal is you wash the table, too.
Point is,
Get in here.
he says good money managers are made young. Really young.
I'm photogenic.
4-year-old Laura is already developing a work ethic. Dishes are stored low just for her.
Good job.
Warren says chores are the all-important first step to creating money-smart kids. And although he doesn't pay allowance, he has come up with an interesting twist.
You can't teach the importance of money if they don't have a way to earn that money.
So in this house, every kid gets at least one paying job.
$4.
He's had Eddie mowing since he was 6. He's got another collecting cans at the office, and his latest brainchild.
Over in this area of Visalia, we're the only people that have cows.
A cow, actually.
That's right.
For the experience.
So far, the kids haven't exactly been appreciative.
But they're going to be children that know the value of $1.
Perhaps someday. But it's hard to get kids to look beyond tomorrow.
I'm glad to get on TV.
Or for that
In the
matter,
name of Jesus Christ, amen.
beyond dessert.
Pass the jelly.
Deep snow, deep snow. Trip, South Dakota.
Until then, I'm Steve Hartman for The Early Show.
And a local family gets its claim to fame. A news crew from CBS Nightly News showed up in Visalia to do a 3-minute story on a randomly picked family from Tulare County. Why Visalia, you may be asking? Well, we asked that same question, and the answer is quite enlightening. Here's more.
Our Steve Hartman has traveled to various spots around the country, but oddly enough, the random toss of that dart that's used to find his subjects had never landed near the West Coast until now.
Yes, folks, a dart brought this CBS national news crew to Visalia.
All-time high in America. And Warren, who incidentally lectures on how to stay out of debt, says the most important
CBS
thing you
News
can tell a person to
correspondent
make them
Steve
financially
Hartman travels
responsible
America.
is something
His
along
beat,
the lines of-
everybody has a story. And that's how he and his cameraman ended up here.
By doing this, throwing a dart at a map and picking somebody at random out of the phone book, you know, I have no choice. There is no filter. So we're finding stories that I wouldn't even think to tell. And that's been really the most magical part of the whole thing.
And in this magical moment, picking a random name out of the phone book, Hartman found the Gubler family in Visalia. Mom, dad, and 5 children. Local attorney Warren Gubler wasn't at home when the CBS crew landed in Visalia and called his house, but his wife was and accepted the invitation.
I wasn't home at the time. I came home about 15 minutes later, and she and the kids were scurrying around the house, picking things up, and I'm saying, what are you doing here? I wish I could get you kids particularly to do your chores like this quick every week. And she said, well, CBS just called. They'll be here in 20 minutes. And I scoffed a little bit and said, I think that was a crank call.
This time, first caller, the first person we called, agreed. And that's sort of rare. One time we were in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and it took 44 tries before we got somebody who would agree to talk to us. So
the crew followed Gubler and his family around for 2 days, shadowing their every move with the camera.
Just hard to imagine that a crew from CBS would show up in Visalia and want to come and talk about our little family. So
Gubler says he wouldn't normally welcome strangers into his home, but he says the experience is a nice memory for his family, and even more, the national exposure is good publicity for Visalia and Tulare County, an area Hartman and his photographer have never been, but were pleasantly surprised.
Usually farming communities do not have gourmet restaurants near them, which is really unusual.
And the town's really nice. I mean, you drive through downtown. I was sort of surprised, even though I live in California. I wasn't sure. I've heard of Visalia, but I wasn't really sure what it was like. I had no idea. So when we drove into town and saw a nice downtown, coffee shops, we were thrilled.
The gateway to Sequoias. Come on.
I know, and I didn't really even know that, and I live in Los Angeles. So.
Is this a fun beat for you to work?
I think I have the best job in America, without a doubt. I'm serious. I'm envious of nobody.
And following the 2-day escapade, Gubler and his family were happy to be off camera. But now, Hartman's future and his next destination was in Gubler's hands.
I had the opportunity of throwing the dart, and when I did it, I said, Steve, I can think of nothing better after 2 days of your harassing my family with this camera to send you to deep snow. Deep snow. Trip, South Dakota.
The CBS reporter has since been in touch with the Gubler family to let them know they're definitely cold in South Dakota. You can catch the news story on CBS Nightly.